I am not worthy. I am simply not worthy. Beyonce, the queen, the goddess. Today on Where Are They Now, we are breaking down the legend of Beyonce and what the heck is up with the faltering reception of her latest album. What the heck is up with that? I'm Adam Andrews. Let's bounce on in. The 32-time Grammy-winning Beyoncé, Giselle Knowles, was born September 4th, 1981 in Houston, Texas. When Beyoncé was just 8 years old, she met Latavia Robertson at an audition for an all-girl entertainment group in 1990 at just 9 years old. Beyoncé formed the singing-rapping girl group Girls Tyme, which would eventually become Destiny's Child, with the original quartet comprising Knowles, Kelly Rowland, Latavia Robertson, and LaToya Luckett. After seeing the group perform, R&B producer Aaron Fragger brought them to his Northern California studio and placed them in Star Search, the largest talent show on national TV at the time. Now in 1992, the group lost on the show, and then following that, 3 years later, they were dropped from a recording contract before an album ever had been released. In 1995, Beyoncé's father resigned from his job to manage the group, which reduced Beyoncé's family's income by half, and her parents were forced to sell their house and cars and move into separated apartments. In the long run, though, this was a good move. We thank our lucky stars that in 1997 Destiny's Child's fortunes reversed with a Columbia recording contract and finally a debut album, which had their first hit single No 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 Part 2. Their follow-up album came in 1999 and was called The Writings on the Wall. This album earned the group 2 Grammy Awards and sold more than 8 million copies in the United States. And then their third album in 2001 called Survivor reached the #1 spot on the Billboard 200 chart. Beyoncé was very clearly the decided upon leader of the group and wrote a lot of the hit songs of the group. But alas, eventually the group, whose final lineup comprised Beyoncé, Kelly Rowland, and Michelle Williams, split in order to pursue solo careers. Destiny's Child did indeed reunite in 2004 to release Destiny's Fulfilled, which wasn't anything like their past work, but still, the album sold more than 7 million copies worldwide and spawned several hit singles. It also kicked off a world tour in 2005, during which they announced that the group would officially disband, and then later that same year, they released #1s, a collection of their best work. But we don't care about that, we're talking about Beyoncé! Beyoncé's first solo recording was a feature on Jay-Z's song '03 Bonnie and Clyde that was released in October 2002, peaking at #4 on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart. But what we really want to talk about is when Beyoncé's first solo album, Dangerously in Love, came from the heavens and blessed us all in 2003. The album debuted to rave reviews and included one of Beyoncé's top songs of all time, Crazy in Love, featuring Jay-Z, which helped the album to top charts around the world. In 2004, Beyoncé won 5 Grammy Awards, including Best Contemporary R&B Album and Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. Let me repeat. 5 Grammys from her debut solo album. In 2006, Beyoncé released her second solo studio album, B-Day, which had a kind of 1970s style funk, but the more pop-like song Irreplaceable became the most successful single of the bunch. In 2008, she and Jay-Z finally married, making them one of the top earning couples in the entertainment industry, like to this day. Later that year, Beyoncé released the double album I Am... Sasha Fierce, which was split in half. The first half, I Am, was more introspective, while the second, Sasha Fierce, had the songs that would get you pumped up. The album as a whole graced our ears with several hits, including, of course, Single Ladies, Put a Ring on It, and it contributed to Beyoncé's dominance of the 2010 Grammy Awards. Her 6 awards, which included those for Song of the Year, Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, and Best Contemporary R&B Album, gave her the honor of having the most Grammys collected by a female artist in a single night ever. Cool. I like it. Now in 2011, after blowing the socks off of England's Glastonbury Festival, Beyoncé released 4, and it honestly displayed this woman's absolute talent, going from genre to genre and just making me happy, you know? In early 2013, in a moment that also blew the socks off the world, Destiny's Child reunited for a halftime appearance at the Super Bowl and released a new song aptly named Nuclear, because they'll blow your world. And not too long after that, Beyoncé picked up another Grammy for her single Love on Top. She returned later on in the year with another album, an extremely impressive album called Beyonce, with big name producers and appearances from tons of people, but among others, the Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and her and Jay-Z's own toddler, Blue Ivy, also featured on the record. This record set itself apart from not only Beyonce's other work, but the work of other artists as well, since this record was promoted as a quote visual album, with music videos made to go along with each and every track. The single Drunk in Love, which featured Jay-Z, was awarded multiple more Grammys, including Best R&B Song. In 2016, Beyonce focused on betrayal and perseverance when she dropped her next album, Lemonade, which was another visual album. But unlike the last one, Lemonade debuted as an HBO television special. Lemonade hit hard and was pretty universally acclaimed, and it also earned Beyonce 2 more Grammys, including a Best Music Video Award for Formation. Now in 2018, Beyonce and Jay-Z together released a collaborative album called Everything Is Love. These two just know how to work together, which makes sense. I mean, they're just great. Their collab album took the Grammy for Best Urban Contemporary Album, and then, that same year, Beyonce became the first black woman to headline the Coachella Valley Festival in Indio, California. Her performance, which was also critically acclaimed like everything else this woman does, featured marching bands from historically black colleges and was the subject of a Netflix documentary and live album released in 2019 called Homecoming. In between the last album and the next album, Beyonce teamed up with other artists to go in on their projects until fans were clamoring for another album. And in 2022, the Queen Bey delivered us her next album, Act 1 Renaissance. It received 4 Grammys, including Best Dance Electronic Music Album, and with that, Beyonce finally became the person with the most Grammy wins in history at 32 Grammys. But Renaissance actually had it kind of rough, honestly. 3 weeks after it came out, the album had only sold 475,000 copies, with sales down a huge 74%. Renaissance also really only had one hit single, Break My Soul, which 3 weeks out sat at number 15 on iTunes. Now, some attributed this failure to her choice of content, but I think it's more likely it has to do with the fact that she didn't really do any marketing or appearances to sell the album. No TV work and no interviews. Luckily, after the Grammy wins, it did get boosted up in terms of its sales, but that was February 2023, quite a while after it initially came out back in August 2022. Break My Soul won Best Dance Electronic Recording, and Plastic Off the Sofa took home Best Traditional R&B Performance, and Cuff It won Best R&B Song. She was nominated for a total of 9 awards, but only took home the 4, which honestly, it's more Grammys than I'll ever have, and I seriously doubt Beyonce is going to be hurting financially anytime soon. But still, there was also a lot of drama. The Album of the Year is probably the most brag-worthy award to win at the Grammys. This year, ABBA, Adele, Bad Bunny, Mary J. Blige, Brandi Carlile, Coldplay, Kendrick Lamar, Lizzo, Beyonce, and Harry Styles were all in the running for the accolade. And when it went to Harry instead of Beyonce, there was a pretty interesting reaction from the crowd. Midway through Harry's speech for winning the award, someone from the crowd yelled, "Beyonce!" And that was followed shortly after by someone else yelling, "Beyonce should have won," which prompted some gasps from the crowd. Now look, I love Beyonce, but if she didn't win, she didn't win. She's got 32 more Grammys, and to yell during someone else's moment that they shouldn't be receiving the award they worked hard for, it's just kind of disgusting behavior, you know? Whether it's true or not doesn't really matter. On top of that drama though, there was also a bit of controversy surrounding the track Energy. The original version of Energy interpolated Khalees's iconic song Milkshake, which led to an angry reaction from Khalees on Instagram. Her central argument was that Beyonce did not call her to tell her that she had sampled her. She wasn't talking about officially clearing the song, which is a legal process, but more of just the common decency of letting Khalees know. In response, Beyonce removed the interpolation from the song. It was a weird thing to happen, but it was resolved pretty quickly, so no harm, no foul, I guess. Now, we talked mainly about Beyonce's music career so far, but if we rewind about 22 years, in 2001, Beyonce made her acting debut in the television movie Carmen, a Hip Hopera, which is just a hilarious title for a movie. A hip hopera? Don't kill me. This aired on MTV, but I think her role as Foxy Cleopatra in Austin Powers Goldmember the following year is what made her a proper film star and led to parts in The Fighting Temptations in 2003 and The Pink Panther in 2006. Now also in 2006, Beyonce played Dina Jones in Dreamgirls, the film adaptation of the 1981 Broadway musical about a 1960s singing group, which really mirrored Destiny's Child and was kinda cool to see, honestly. Beyonce's performance was nominated for a Golden Globe Award, and her song, Listen, for an Academy Award. So not only is she bagging Grammys left and right and center, but she transitioned over to other industries and took some nominations there too. God damn! Next up, she starred in Cadillac Records in 2008, portraying another legendary singer, Etta James, and then she also appeared in the thriller Obsessed in 2009 before voicing a forest queen in the animated Epic in 2013. Now we fast forward to 2019 and Beyonce gave voice to the character of Nala in the remake of Disney's The Lion King, also performing several songs on the soundtrack including Spirit, which is an original song she co-wrote, and a new version of Can You Feel the Love Tonight. Now at the same time, she also released an album inspired by the movie The Lion King The Gift. Songs from that record were later featured in the visual album Black is King in 2020, which aired on the streaming service Disney+. For the single Black Parade, Beyonce earned the Grammy for Best R&B Performance in 2021. And that year she received 3 other awards to set the record for most Grammys won by a female artist with 28, which is now boosted up to 32 like we said. Beyonce later co-wrote and performed Be Alive for the film King Richard for 2021, and it itself also received an Oscar nomination for Best Original Song. But that was a brief rundown of Beyonce, her life, and where she is now. But now I welcome you to add any details I probably did miss down in the comments down below. In the meantime, I'm Adam Andrews, this is Where Are They Now, and I'll catch you all on the flippy flop. Peace out.